Devanshu Dalmia, author of the book I Want to Meditate, Where Do I Begin? A clear framework from a fellow seeker. Welcome to the 16th episode of the MidLife Crisis Podcast. For clarity, you started working for Heineken, you worked for a strategy consultant, you're now working at Shell.
Exactly. So my life has always been corporate spaces. In that scenario, at some point, I started feeling my body break down. And I think the three reasons which everyone should meditate is: one, finding joy; second, building hyperfocus in your life; and third, becoming fearless.
So let's break those three down, right? That's pretty interesting. You can give a bit more context about those three. What do you mean exactly by that?
So let's take the first one.
I don't want to exaggerate the effect of what I just did, right? Because I don't think that that'd be credible for everybody listening. But if I had to name one sensation that I got from it, I feel much more peaceful.
There you go.
Devanshu Dalmia, author of the book I Want to Meditate, Where Do I Begin? A clear framework from a fellow seeker. Welcome to the 16th episode of the MidLife Crisis Podcast.
Thank you, Diederik, for having me.
Yeah, of course, we switched back to English, as our listeners will now hear, right? Where we made a commitment to go back to Dutch or go to Dutch in season 2. We're making an exception here.
Nothing in life is permanent, right? You always need flexibility.
I think if the story is interesting enough, then you should be willing to make a change. And I guess that's the case here today.
I hope so.
And I want to jump straight in. Your book is about meditation. I got out of bed this morning and I thought to myself, if I'm going to be speaking to somebody about meditation, I should at least try, right? So I got out of bed and I told myself, okay, I'm going to sit still now here on the floor in my room for 5 minutes. And I don't know, I thought to myself, I'll concentrate on breathing, right? Something you read about. And I sat down and my kids were screaming downstairs, and within seconds I started thinking about what I wanted to do that day, and I went back into memories and all that type of stuff. And after 30 seconds I got up and I was like, nah, it's not going to happen. Am I doomed? Is this it? Am I not the right candidate for meditation, or how do you see that?
I mean, first, on a positive note, you tried.
Okay.
So I think that's something good to start with.
Yeah.
But if you look at it from an analogy of going to a gym, Diederik, you can't expect to go to the gym on day one and do a bench press of like 25 kilos.
No. Well, 25 I might be able to do, but probably not 100.
Exactly, not 100, let's say. Your body and your muscles are not trained for that, right?
Yeah.
The same thing goes with your mind. Your brain is so wired to like be in constant thinking mode, constant like activity from day one with social media, etc. You can't expect yourself to quieten it down on day one. So my view is, no, you're not doomed. It's great that you tried, but I think the key is you have to try again.
Yeah.
So if you go with that mindset, it will click at some point.
Yeah, and I want to go further into this episode, of course, because I think that a lot of our listeners will be interested in this because they're around, let's say, 30 to 50, have very busy lives, often have families at home, but are somehow also probably seeking for ways and for mechanisms to kind of find some peace and quiet to also reflect on their life, right? A lot of stories here are about life reflection and about what you have done and what you want to do. So maybe that has nothing to do with meditation at all, but you're going to tell me. But if you go back into your childhood, I read in your book that the first time you really were exposed to meditation in a way that was interesting was when you were around 10 years old, growing up in India. Can you maybe give a bit more context about that piece in the book?
100%. I think I grew up in Bombay, and India as a country has yoga and spirituality deep rooted within the veins of the country. So we have been exposed to it since we were growing up. Like the concept of yoga, meditation has not been something new to us. So my first exposure was actually not when I was 10, but more around like 13 or 14 years old. And the story was that I had a music teacher, and he was a great music teacher, but he never cared about his health. So imagine this guy like 130 kilos, 140 kilos in weight, super fat, like no control on what he's eating, a lot of health problems. So we were doing music for like a couple of years. And at some point, I stopped music. I wasn't like really interested in it. At some point, I was like, this is not my thing. We lost touch with him. He disappeared. Fast forward few years later, like when I was about 13 or 14, he comes back, gives us a call and is like, can I come see you? He walks into our apartment and we were shocked. You could not believe what you saw in front of your eyes.
Transformation.
This 130-kilo guy is now 80 kilos, completely radiant, muscular, built, an aura which is unmatched. You know, like some people who walk into a room and there's an aura around them?
Yeah.
It was that.
Yeah.
We tried asking him, like, hey, what happened? What did you do? Like,
Which diet did you follow?
Which supplements, etc. He was very reclusive to share. The only thing he told us, he went to the Himalayas, which are the mountains near Nepal, met a yogi and trained under him. That was all. He had taken the path of yoga. So that was my first exposure to this entire concept of yoga and meditation. And yoga,
because the two are linked, right? And maybe you can explain a bit about that later.
100%. And I think what the difference is that the yoga which you see in Europe is not the fundamental basis of yoga which it was built for.
Yeah.
Yoga is much, much more than postures, shapes, asanas which you see in the yoga studios. It's not a physical workout. The entire magnanimity of yoga is much more, and the entire goal of yoga is actually meditation. All of the other stuff which we can go into later is just building blocks to help you meditate more deeply. So this yoga teacher basically wanted to get me on this path of yoga and meditation. So that was my first exposure. I wasn't prepared that time.
You didn't take it seriously.
I didn't take it seriously.
No.
So we did few sessions. He's taught me those techniques at that age, which I still practice today. So what I learned from him has been the best learnings I've had probably in my life.
Yeah. Unconsciously, you embedded that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But we don't, like, I did not follow that path seriously. My mind was just not open that time.
Yeah. And then, so fast forward, at what point did you actually start taking meditation seriously? Because again, you describe in the book that you went through some challenging times personally, and that was the moment that actually sparked kind of the beginning of that journey for you.
Yeah, I think, see, my life has been almost as similar as everyone, all of your lives and all of like people we know, right?
Yeah.
I went into the corporate space. I started like becoming a full-time corporate professional.
Yeah.
I started like looking at like my life success was benchmarked to what the world defines us, right?
Yeah.
Like the amount of money you make, the amount of like which job position you have. So that was all what was driving me, like success.
For clarity, you started working for Heineken, you worked for a strategy consultant, you're now working at Shell.
Exactly. So my life has always been corporate spaces, so which spans Heineken, external consulting and strategy, and then now in the Shell ecosystem.
Yeah.
But it's always been high profile roles. It's always been strategy, chief of staff sort of roles where you are expected to be cognitively there for a very long sustained periods of time. So it's always been high pressure, high pay jobs. In that scenario, at some point I started feeling my body break down. So I always had gut issues. So since I was 19, 20, I've always had gut issues. But when I became like about 28, it became to a point which was not sustainable, Diederik. Like I could not have coffee. I could not have alcohol. I could not have milk. I could not have gluten.
So internally, your gut reacted to all of
It
these
reacted to
liquids.
everything which I ate. If someone had to call me for dinner at their house, they would freak out. They would be like, okay, what do we serve this guy?
Devanshu's coming to eat.
Exactly. And at that point of time, I tried doing all medical treatments. I tried doing colonoscopies, endoscopies, you name it. Everything was, the doctors were like, clinically, you're fine. We have no idea what's going wrong with you. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's something else, so on and so forth. But that's when I was like, I need to fix myself. There needs to be a way of life which cannot be this stress oriented, which cannot be this way of like living. And around that time, I started reading a bit about self-help.
Do you think, by the way, that is mostly the time when people actually start making real change in their life? Like if they are do they need to be in a crisis, or do they need to be so unhappy with the way that their life is currently going that gives them the motivation to make a change? Or was that just in your case?
I think what happens is that the way we have been growing up, we have been trained in a very different mindset. We have been trained to succeed. We have been trained to become more wealthy. We have been trained to like perform well, right? So the transition to taking it a bit slow, let's say, and finding peace within yourself only happens after a trigger point. Yes, a trigger point is not essential for it to happen, but none of us are trained in that mentality. So for me to actually be like, wait, is the traditional path of success not the right one? Or maybe it's not the entirety of your life, right? There's more elements to it. For me, that only happened after the trigger point.
Yeah.
That there was something in my life not going well. And that's why you see a lot of people around us, like at some point when we have issues either in relationships, in personal losses, in health, that trigger point starts your journey inward. But at the end of the day, you end up realizing that a lot of your solutions to life, your happiness, your fulfillment is not outward, but it's always been within you. And the goal of meditation is to help you find that.
Yeah. So at that point, because of the gut issues, you started doing meditation, you started picking up the practice. Can you explain in that period, in that first period, what was that like? You came from a background where it was already common, or more common, let's say. So you had heard about it already. So somebody might think, okay, so for you, it's going to be a lot easier.
It actually wasn't. To contrary perception, even though coming from India, I was very heavily influenced by the Western mindset and the way of thought. So my mindset was, if science cannot prove it, it does not mean it's true. And I used to look down upon my own Indian tradition quite a lot. I would be like, no, that is something from people who had no inclination to modern science, modern way of thinking. So it's all irrelevant. So it took me a lot of time to change my mindset. So for me, when I became interested in the space, my first thing which I did was I want to start believing in it. So I started reading. I read a lot. I read about self-help, neuroscience. I read about transformation. I read about ancient Indian scriptures. And then when I started seeing a common thread across all of these topics, that's when my beliefs started coming in. Like, wait, it can't be possible that things which are written in the Bhagavad Gita, which is like maybe like 15,000 years old, is similar
It's one of
things.
these ancient scriptures that you're referring to.
Bhagavad Gita is one of the ancient scriptures of Hinduism. It's like the Bible in Christianity.
Okay.
So I was like, what? How can it be possible that the same teachings 15,000 years ago is what's been there in these modern self-help books? It's what's also there in neuroscience. It's also what's there in psychology. There needs to be some thread. I was like, this cannot be true. That's when I started exploring myself, the space myself, and meditation being an empirical science. When I started experiencing the benefits of it when I was doing it myself, that's when the belief started. But the initial part of my meditation journey was just to heal my gut. That is what got me started.
And did that work?
I'm having I just had a coffee with you 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 100%, it's worked a lot. Like I can have coffee, I can drink, my gut issues have like, I've not seen a doctor in the last maybe like 6-7 years.
And you're convinced that meditation plays a very big part in that?
Nothing else changed. So again, I'm coming from a rational point of view, right? Like I didn't change, I've not taken any medicine. I've not changed my workout regime. I've not changed anything else. What I've only changed is building a daily ritual, which helps me take less stress in my life, which gives me more joy, a sense of fulfillment in the way I operate.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the thing which has fixed it, whether it's the sense of fulfillment, whether it's the sense of joy, whether it's the act of meditation, which we can go into deeper. I don't know what's fixed it, but it's fixed.
But maybe just, you mentioned a couple of things there, right? Fulfillment, joy, relaxation. If you could name 3 reasons why somebody listening now should consider to start meditating, what would those 2 or 3 reasons be?
My view is, if you break down meditation in two parts, one is the entire spiritual reasons of meditating. That's what these scriptures have been saying for thousands and thousands of years. Let's ignore that part for now. Maybe that's a part which we don't even need for like people or beginners to believe in. The second part is the everyday benefits which you will start seeing very soon when you start meditating. And I think the three reasons which everyone should meditate is: one, finding joy; second, building hyperfocus in your life; and third, becoming fearless.
So let's break those 3 down, right? Then that's pretty interesting. If you can give a bit more context about those 3, what do you mean exactly by that?
So let's take the first one, becoming more joyful. Have you ever seen a child just be, like, you have 2 children, right?
I have 2 daughters. Yeah.
When they're not hungry or when they're not disturbed, they're just genuinely happy human beings.
Yeah.
What happened along the way? Where did that sense of joy, which was in you, Diederik, when you were a child, is not there right now? What happened along the way? And the first goal of meditation is to help you find that level of joy again. What's the logic behind it? Let's look at the logic, right? And over here, I'll bring in some Indian spiritual context, because I think it's important. Take it with a pinch of salt. But according to Indian scriptures, your human body is made up of 5 layers. So what you see as your physical body right now, that's just not who you are. So the 5 layers are
just a vehicle. It's just
exactly. So the 5 layers is a physical body. The second layer is an energy body. So what scriptures claim is that beneath your physical body, there's a layer of energy in you. Then you have the mental body, which is basically your ability to think. Then you have the wisdom body, your ability to discern right and wrong. And the last layer is what's called the joyful body, that your ability to be joyful. These 5 layers, in a way, shield you or hide you from the real you, who is what's behind or beneath those layers. So the goal of meditation is actually to transcend these layers and reach the real you. But while you're transcending
transcend these layers, just to be perfectly clear, what you mean is try to reach that first layer.
So the thing is, when you keep your mind quiet, you'll start automatically going behind the layers. So when your brain clutter goes down, you will start realizing that you're more than your physical body. And you'll start slowly going behind the layers automatically. You don't need to make it a mental effort or something. It's just stopping your mental clutter. But while you're doing this, you start reaching the 5th layer, which is the joyful layer, the bliss layer. And that's when you inherently start understanding that the happiness which you're seeking outside has always been within you. What it does is it does not make you become complacent in life. The only thing which it does is whatever you do in your life, you do it with a smile on your face. And I think that's the most transformational part, that your approach to your daily life becomes a joyful experience rather than like something which you struggle
with. And why does it help you if you have a smile on your face? What are the effects, the knock-on effects from that?
Who doesn't want to be happy in life? Who doesn't want to get up in the morning and actually go about your day with being happy, being joyful, being blissful? Isn't that what human beings strive for? Isn't when you start creating wealth, when you start making more money, what are you doing it for? You're trying to do it for that, with the notion that when I have X amount of money, I will be happy. Isn't happiness the main quest of every human being?
Yeah, maybe some people have a certain identity that feels safe to them and that they've used for so long. Let's say they act as a victim, or they're the one that always complains about something. That is something that has become such a part of their psychology that I think for a lot of people sometimes it's very difficult to change and to admit maybe that they even want to be happy.
Again, definitely, like they have a lot of conditioning which has happened to them over the years, right? But I think at the core, no one will argue with you that I don't want to be happy.
No.
No one will come and tell you that, hey, in my life, I want to be sad.
No.
And I think that's where the switch happens.
Yeah.
Moving on then, the second layer which we discussed was, the first was finding joy. Second was building hyperfocus. Now, this is where I think meditation is one of the most important exercises for any professional to succeed in their lives. What meditation is all about, you basically, if you break down meditation into different subcomponents, it's basically about focusing on one thing. Why is that? If you analyze your brain, you will understand that you have always a lot of thoughts in your brain.
I had that this morning.
You had that this morning.
Yeah.
But in your conscious brain, you can only hold one thought at a particular time. Other thoughts are in the periphery of it.
And this is rooted in science.
This is rooted in neuroscience, right?
Okay.
So your conscious brain can only hold one particular thought at a single point of time. What you do in meditation is you basically focus on one particular thing. It can be sound, it can be light, it can be a visual object, it can be a center between your eyes, it can be a center in your heart, but you focus on one particular thing. When you're focusing on one particular thing, the thoughts in the periphery of your brain subside. That's what's meant by stopping the monkey brain from working. That your other thoughts subside and you're focusing on one particular thing. But through this act of sustained focus, you build something called hyperfocus. So you start approaching your life with that hyperfocus. So what takes you 8 hours to finish will start taking you 4 hours to finish. So my work, which is generally at a crux of strategy and execution, normally, which I would take like 12 hours to finish in my day, now I finish in 8 hours or 7 hours. I don't need that dopamine hits every day to check my phone and see and have the distraction. My brain works in like spans of hyperfocus. So if I'm doing something, I'll be doing it for like an hour, I'll get everything done and then I'll move on.
And you're able to bring that hyperfocus to a task because you do meditation.
Because I practice it every day in meditation. Because meditation has become a buzzword. If you remove the word meditation, what you are doing in your daily life is the ritual which you have in the morning or in the evening, whenever you want to do it, is you're basically focusing on one particular thing. And as you go to the gym, the moment you start lifting more weights, your muscles increase, right? And you start seeing those muscles in the rest of the day as well. I can see you have been working out, Diederik. But
I'll take it. I'll take the compliment.
The same thing, if you start focusing every day, 15 minutes, you start seeing that your ability to focus in the rest of the day matters, improves. And that's where, for a modern professional working in this space, it's a game changer. Have you heard of people like Hugh Jackman, the famous Australian actor, Oprah Winfrey, Ray Dalio, the famous investor, Ariana Huffington? They all, Bill Gates to that matter of effect, they all have a daily meditation ritual.
Yeah, I could imagine that they do. But on the other hand, a lot of people will also be skeptical and say they're trying to virtue signal. They're just trying to show to their audience that they're doing something that seems to be hip and trendy. Like,
do they need to? I mean, if you've reached at that level in your life, if you're like a Bill Gates, if you're like Ray Dalio, you have billions in your account, why would you go on podcast, talk about a topic which you won't believe in?
Yeah, maybe these people are still driven by the need for significance, or I don't know what the psychology is behind it. But so what you're saying basically is you see that a lot of successful people, whatever that definition is, use meditation in a daily practice.
Exactly. It's a way to center yourself every day and find the real you and stop the noise. And whether you do that sitting, standing, sleeping, staring out of the window, doesn't matter. If one thing you can take out from today is find a moment every day to center yourself and stop the noise.
Yeah, so maybe we can do it in a minute and do a very small practice just here in the episode,
100%.
Right? Just so that people have a feeling for what does that look like? How do I start?
Of course.
But if we move on to the third thing,
Fearlessness.
Fearlessness.
So third thing is fearlessness. Human beings, fear was an inherent, let's say, conditioning of human beings.
It kept you safe. It kept you safe.
It kept you safe, right?
Right, yeah.
Now, we have moved on from being hunter-gatherers to this modern world.
Yeah, there's no lion in the bushes anymore.
There's no lion in the bushes. You're not going and hunting for food anymore, right? There are snakes which can come and like kill you.
Not here.
Not here. Not in Netherlands.
No.
has your level of fear gone down or increased? So what you see is, despite the fear of external threat decreasing, we are constantly living in a state of fear ourselves. Like there are more mental breakdowns, there are more areas of depression, there are more burnouts, etc., etc.
Why is that, do you think?
So my mental model is that the fear has gone up because we live more in mentally imagined scenarios than living in the real world. So we fear an outcome which has not happened, but we have made up that outcome in our mind. So if you take the sources of fear into two components, if you break it down, one is fear of bodily harm. Second is fear of mentally imagined scenarios which have not happened. Now, meditation helps you overcome both these fears. Fear of bodily harm. This is a bit more complicated space. We might not go a lot into it, but basically once you start meditating, you will start realizing that your life is actually much bigger than your physical reality of this world.
Okay.
And this is a spiritual discussion which is a digression, but we can have it later. And once you start realizing that, you start having less fear of death. So your fear of death starts reducing. So that's why meditation plays a role in reducing the fear of bodily harm.
Okay.
But the more important part is meditation reduces the fear of mentally imagined scenarios, because while you're meditating, you start living your life more consciously. So when you start focusing on a particular point, the other parts of thoughts in your brain start going down. And that effect leads in the rest of the day as well. So when you're now living your life in a normal day, you start experiencing life as it is. You stop living in your head a lot. And when you stop living in your head, you stop making these mentally imagined scenarios. Yeah. And when you stop making these mentally imagined scenarios, you stop getting fearful in your life. So through that, meditation reduces the fear of both death and imagined scenarios.
And so being in that state, does that mean you are present? Is that what people always refer to, being in the moment, or is that something different?
Exactly. That because of you focusing a lot in your life on everything, that's when you start becoming more present. That's when you're walking on the road, you start noticing things which you did not notice. So you only notice things when you slow down.
Yeah. I think these are three really strong reasons as to why somebody who believes that they could achieve this through meditation would actually start doing it. So, I mean, those are three things that if you explain them to me, I would want, right? So now somebody listening goes, okay, great. I want those things. Devanshu, make sure I get those things like now, right? I want to start doing something tomorrow and I want it now. I realize that it doesn't work that way, right? You told me at the beginning of the episode, but what can somebody start doing tomorrow, or what should they start doing to begin that journey? And when do you see results? Because unfortunately, I think the way we're wired, people want results often too quickly. And so they ditch certain practices because they don't immediately see results.
That's true. Everyone wants to see results immediately.
Yeah.
I think let's take a second part of your question first. Like, when do you start seeing results?
Yeah.
It depends a lot on every individual. There is no one answer to this. Some people might start seeing results, let's say, in a few days. Some people might start seeing results in a few months. You will start seeing the clock shift within you quite soon. You'll start becoming a more centered, more happy person quite soon. So my only request to you would be patient. Be consistent and be patient.
It's difficult.
That's the difficult part.
To be consistent, you need discipline.
You need to, there is nothing called a free lunch. No. If you want to achieve something in life, consistency and patience are the key. Yeah. So this also goes with meditation. So that's the second part of your question. Yeah. The first part of your question would be, what can someone do tomorrow morning? Yeah. Or tomorrow? Yeah. My view would be, find a corner of your house and make it the same corner. So try building a ritual. Your body remembers cue. Exactly. So your body remembers cues. Your body remembers like external stimulus. Try building a habit. So try fixing one time of a day, whichever time is convenient for you. Try finding a spot in your apartment, whichever spot is convenient for you to access at that time of the day, and have less distractions. Keep your phone aside, keep your phone away from your space, etc. Sit down in that space for the next days and start with, like, let's say 3 minutes, 2 minutes, but start with quietening your mind. And I would say that different techniques, and maybe we can explore a technique together if you want.
Yeah.
But start sitting for like a couple of minutes with your presence over there, and slowly you will see that every day if you start doing it, your ability to focus will increase. Your ability to quieten your mind will start going up. Now your question would be that, okay, fine, I sit down, but what do I do? So there are a lot of different techniques for that.
And I don't want to overcomplicate it in this
Yeah.
episode, right? Because I think once you start overcomplicating a topic,
Yeah.
you're creating an excuse for somebody not to do it. Because they
100%,
tell
yeah.
themselves, this is too complicated
Yeah.
for me, therefore I cannot do it.
Yeah.
We need to remove barriers for people. I always
Yeah.
think that change starts when you give them one very simple task.
Yeah.
So maybe we can try a technique now. Let's pick one
Yeah.
for 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If you can help me go through that now, then that can maybe be the example of what somebody could do tomorrow
Yeah.
if they decided to, in that corner of their house where they are.
Let's do it. I think before we start, I just want to give you a logic of what you will be doing
Okay.
and why you will be doing it.
Makes sense?
Because without understanding that, the analytical brain will not believe in it.
No.
So
I'm a very enthusiastic person by nature, so I want to do this regardless of what you tell me now, and I'm happy to do it. But please tell me the reasons.
So what we'll be first doing is, the first step is, we will be, because you are talking right now to me, so you're stimulated, right?
Yeah.
So we'll be moving your attention from the outside world to the inner world. And gratitude is a brilliant way of doing that. So you stop thinking about the external world and you start becoming happy for who you are. So we'll practice a small gratitude technique. And after the gratitude technique, we'll be doing a point of focus technique. Because what we said is, once you move your attention to the inner world,
Okay.
you need to focus on one point so that the brain clutter starts reducing automatically. So a point of focus, Diederik, will be the point between your eyebrows. So this point at the center of your forehead, this will be a point of focus.
Okay.
And you're doing it so that the other thoughts start slowing down. So this would be a technique. You might not be able to focus, or stuff might come to your mind today. It's completely fine. If you just keep on practicing this every day, you will start realizing that your ability to focus will start going up every day. And at some point, you will see your mind become fully blank. And that state is undescribable in words.
Okay. That's the end state. That's where people are trying to get to, basically.
There are more states beyond
Yeah,
it,
let's keep it simple.
Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it
Okay,
simple.
let's try it. Let's give it a go.
So sit comfortably.
Yeah.
Keep your legs on the floor. Like, keep your back straight. So the most important thing in this is to keep your back straight.
Oh, now I noticed that I'm not, but okay,
Yeah.
yeah, great.
So as long as you have you're resting on the chair, that's fine. So now let's close our eyes. And it's fine. Just ease into the moment. Just let your breath go in, go out. Now slowly say a note of thank you for everything which is around you. So first, thank your body that you're able to walk, you're able to see, you're able to hear, you're able to think, you're able to feel. So just spend a few moments appreciating the body around you, the body which allows you to do so much in your life. Now thank your brain. This beautiful instrument allows you to think, discuss, function. So thank your mind. Finally, thank your entire support system, your wife, your children, your family, your friends, everyone who's there around you, supporting you, cheering you on. Just give a mental note of thanks to them. Slowly, very slowly, bring your attention between your eyebrows. Don't focus on it too much. Just let it linger there a bit while you focus on your breathing. So while you're focusing on your breathing, just be aware of this point between your eyebrows. And whenever your focus varies, just try slowly bringing it back. Slowly, Diederik, open your eyes. And how does that feel? This is a small meditation ritual.
Feels so strange now to come back into this setting.
With all the lights, right?
Yeah, it was, I think for the gratitude part, it felt really good.
Yeah.
And I was able to do it quite easily. But then when I started concentrating between my eyes, it felt super strange.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, why the hell am I trying to concentrate on the spot between my eyes? I couldn't block out the reason all of a sudden why I was doing it.
And that's completely normal. And I think my view is that when you start having these thoughts, when you start having like these difficulties, don't analyze them too much.
Yeah.
I meditate, like I've been meditating for 6 years.
Yeah.
I still have days where if I sit down, my brain just doesn't stop. But I don't stress about it. I don't be like, oh shit, I can't like make my brain stop.
Yeah.
I just finish my practice. I get up, I continue with my day. Next day morning, I try again.
Yeah.
And that's the
I
mentality.
don't want to exaggerate the effect of what I just did, right? Because I don't think that that'd be credible for everybody listening. But if I had to name one sensation that I got from it, I feel much more peaceful.
There you go. And imagine having that every day to fuel your day. And that's where I feel that this entire topic of meditation has become a buzzword.
Yeah.
It is for everyone around us who has hectic professional lives. It's almost a way to fuel yourself to be the best version of you. And if you have that cheat code in your life, why won't you take it?
Yeah, what I'm feeling now is I feel kind of a dependence on you. Like I need a Devanshu in my life. You sleeping in my room is maybe going too far. But
It's maybe going too far.
I need you as a neighbor now to come in every day and do this with me, baby. But I think so people need to realize that they can actually do this alone and by themselves.
I feel like the power to do anything is within you. All paths in their own way lead to the same truth. The way forward is within you. And that's why I feel like if you have the belief and the discipline to do it every single day, you will not need anyone. You yourself are far superior than what you imagine yourself to be. The only barrier is you rediscovering that. So be consistent, be disciplined, do it every day. Start with 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You will see yourself transform over time.
I mean, we could talk about this probably for days together, right? You were saying at the beginning of the episode, I could talk about this for hours. So 45 minutes, 50 minutes is going to fly by. But I want to, unfortunately, shift gears and kind of go into a different topic. Because I think another thing that will really interest people, besides the practice that you actually describe in this book, is the actual process of writing the book. I speak to people very often that flirt with the idea or think to themselves, I could never write a book, right? Even though they have something interesting to tell, even though everybody has a story, even though everybody has a passion or something that they're good at, that they could easily talk about for days and therefore maybe also write a book. It seems like something that's very far away for people, but you did it, right? It's here on the table. I read it. Can you maybe take us through a bit of that process? Like, at what point did you decide to actually write a book? Why and how did that go?
So writing a book was never part of my plan. Like, it wasn't. So the story behind this is that I have been meditating for a while and I've been very passionate about this topic. So I had built a mental model for me to make sense of what meditation is, why it matters, and how can I start. This was my mental model.
Yeah.
And over dinner conversations with friends, with colleagues, with people I know, the topic of meditation always came up. I think we also spoke about it a few times when we used to work together in the past. So at some point, Shraddha, my wife, she basically we were having dinner and she just looked at me and she's like, why aren't you explaining this in words for people? Because I have never understood this better than what you have explained it to me. So I was like, okay, I don't think I can write, etc. But I was like, let me start scribbling down what I know. So it started off
Just
with
thoughts, random thoughts. Yeah.
It started
Random
off with
ideas,
a
random
piece of
thoughts.
notes. And then I was like, okay, these notes are coming together. Let me just start writing my story. So then my story started coming together in Word document. And there was not this intention of writing a book ever. It was just a hobby I was doing on Sundays. Like spending 2 hours, opening up a Word document and just typing. Over time, after the 5,000 word mark, then I realized, wait, this is going to become a piece of work which I would be very happy to put my name to it because I believe in it. I have the research, I have the logic, I have the flow, and I want to put it out. So it happened over time gradually. I think the biggest barrier for people who want to start writing and who don't is that you live a lot in your mentally imagined scenarios. That what if this will happen? What if that will happen?
Yeah.
How will I solve this? How will I figure this out? My only solution to that is just start doing and stop thinking.
Well, I think that is a very important point for a lot of people that want to start creating instead of consuming, because a lot of people these days are consuming and it's not very helpful, right? A bit of entertainment every now and then is probably nice or relaxing, but it's actually much nicer to be creative and to start creating things. Was that how you kind of approached this or felt about this as well, or?
Definitely. I was in that mindset where I was also a bit like, hey, I have my 9 to 5 job. I am just consuming content along from it. It's not giving me the right passion in life.
No.
Either I can sit there and complain about it,
Or I can do something.
or I can do something about it.
Yeah.
And I think I chose the latter.
Yeah.
And I think the difference is, Diederik, that when I started writing, I didn't have this thing in my mind that I want the book to be a bestseller or I want the book to sell X number of copies. That the success or failure of the book was not in my mind when I was writing it. I was enjoying the journey of writing it. I was enjoying the journey of producing content. And that's when you start enjoying the journey of doing something. That's when you hit a sweet spot.
Yeah.
And the outcome actually becomes irrelevant a bit.
Yeah.
So right now also, where this book goes, it's been 3 weeks since I put it out. We have sold about 140 copies. Where this goes, I have no idea. But have I enjoyed myself doing it? Yes. So my only view to anyone who wants to start producing any content out there is stop thinking that much and just start doing it.
Yeah.
And it will figure out along the way when you start the process.
And were there any moments in that journey where you felt insecure or you were doubting yourself of like, what am I doing? I'm not an author. That you were kind of sabotaging yourself, or did that not happen?
A lot.
A lot.
A
Okay,
lot.
good.
Like, I mean, it's something which apparently it's a thing which a lot of authors face.
Okay.
I didn't know this, but when the manuscript was written and when I was about to publish it, I remember discussing with Shraddha, like, who am I to speak about these things? Who am I to
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, you have a very big imposter syndrome. And this imposter syndrome is despite the fact that this piece of book is very well researched. It's something which I can like really stand behind it. But I think it's normal. And I think in my case, my wife really pushed me through this imposter syndrome, being like, listen, go do it. Put your name out there, and people, if they don't like it, they don't like it. If they like it, they like it. So I think that imposter syndrome is natural, and you need to just believe in yourself that what you are saying has an audience who wants to hear you.
And now people listening, if they were to take one message from this episode and hopefully read your book and take one message from your book, what is the one thing that you want to have stick in people's minds?
In your day, find a moment to center yourself. Like that moment can be anything. It can be going for a walk, staring out of the window, sitting quietly in a room. But find a moment where you try cutting out the noise and trying to reconnect with who you are. And I think that's the main message which I want people to like get away from.
Okay. And are there any more coming out soon? Is this like the beginning of a new career? Or is there a sequel in the works, or was this a one-off?
Nothing planned, Diederik, but you never know, right? Like it's a space which I'm like deeply passionate about, which I want to explore further in my life. I think it's given me so many benefits in my own personal space that it's always going to be a part of my life.
Yeah.
What happens with it, I don't know. So I don't know if it's going to be more books or different forms of like content or podcast. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But it's something which I'm just very happy to keep on like talking about and sharing with the world.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for writing it. I think you kind of demystify meditation to a certain degree, where you kind of use your analytical skills and your structure and your way of thinking to kind of take people along in why should they believe in it, what should they believe in, and then give them actual tools as to how they can start using it. So I think that that's really helpful. And I hope that a lot of people get inspired by this episode. So thanks a lot for being here.
Thanks for inviting me. It was lovely sharing something which I'm so deeply passionate about.
Yeah.
And whenever you want me to come to your house and do a meditation session, I'm a call away. I'm a call away. I can always
Yeah, and we'll
do
put
that.
some links in the bottom of the episode for people who want to now actually order the book, because I think it's very worthwhile doing if you're actually thinking about doing this or are just curious about more of what you've been saying here. So we'll definitely do that.
Thanks so much, Diederik.
And we'll have you on again when you've written the second one.
Will do.
You never know. You never know.
Hopefully.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Diederik.